News at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, I'm Nwaodo.
Hello and welcome. Tonight, intrigues at the Rivers State House of Assembly as Governor Siminalayi Fubara's convoys denied access into the complex. Governor Fubara reflects on the impasse at the State House of Assembly complex, describes situation as unfortunate, just as the FCT minister accuses the governor of playing to the gallery. National Counter-Terrorism Center announces plans to partner with the British High Commission and the Embassy of the United States of America to strengthen Nigeria's counter-terrorism efforts. And Ukraine says it is ready to accept an immediate 30-day ceasefire with Russia, which is proposed by the U.S. after a day of U.S.-Ukraine talks in Saudi Arabia.
On business news tonight, Lagos ranks as Africa's second largest city economy after subnational's GDP hits $259 billion, according to the state's economic development update for 2025.
On sports, former president of the Nigerian Football Federation, Amaja Pinnick, loses re-election into the FIFA Council by 1 vote.
And from the nation's capital, it's more on rivers, as the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, says there is nothing wrong if River State lawmakers decide to remove Governor Siminalayi Fubara over alleged impeachable offences.
Just when you think a truce is in the offing, a twist springs up in the ongoing political crisis in River State. Well, earlier today, Governor Siminalayi Fubara, in line with the Supreme Court's judgment, visited the River State House of Assembly to represent the 2025 budget, but he met a closed gate. Shortly afterwards, the House sat and asked the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC, to investigate the chairman of the River State Independent Electoral Commission, Justice Adolphus Enebele, retired. Sitting ended without any mention of Governor Fubara's visit. Our correspondent Charles Oporum reports.
A stillness cloaks the Rivers Assembly grounds as the lawmakers prepare for today's plenary. 11 a.m., calmness makes way for a visible bustle. Assembly security personnel brace themselves from within. The gates are locked as the governor's approach to the gates is heralded by his convoy's sirens. Governor Fubara meets a closed gate as he arrives the assembly complex.
All right, okay. There are no security men. Nobody to open the gate. I'm here myself this morning with members of a few members of the Assembly Council to comply with the Supreme Court judgment. Before my arrival, I've already made several attempts by phone call to reach the Speaker and other members. I also did a letter personally which was transmitted to the Honorable Speaker for this particular invitation. But it's unfortunate that at the gates, you can see that the place is completely sealed and there is no sign that anything is going to happen today. The reason why we're doing this, I've always said it, is the interests of our people, which is the most important thing. Well, I don't think there's anything to worry about. Maybe they're working on their letter. I expect to hear from them maybe after this hour.
About an hour and 40 minutes after the governor leaves, the speaker walks into the chamber and sitting commences. The governor's visit is not the focus, however. Instead, the member representing Okrika, Linda Stewart, tables a motion asking the EFCC and ICPC to investigate the RISEC chairman.
Condemn the refusal of the chairman of the commission and some commissioners to subject themselves to investigation by the House. 3. Urge the House to invite the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, and the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offenses Commission, ICPC, to investigate the chairman and the commission.
The motion gains assembly backing.
It has become
Speaker Amewule condemns the RISEC chairman's actions and asks anti-graft agencies to investigate RISEC's finances from January 2024 till date.
It has become very necessary for this House to invite the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC, and the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, to come and assist the Rivers State House of Assembly in pursuit of our investigative powers.
Throughout the proceedings, the governor's visit is unmentioned, with the assembly proceeding with 3 bills instead. Today again marks another day of uncertainty and the political crisis that Rivers State continues to grapple with. Charles Oporum, Channels Television News.
And still under impasse in Rivers State, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Mr. Nyesom Wike, says that there is nothing wrong if the state lawmakers decide to remove Governor Siminalayi Fubara over alleged impeachable offences, including withholding the salaries of the lawmakers for months. He stated this during a media chat in Abuja. The former Rivers State governor dismissed concerns that the removal of Governor Fubara may lead to chaos in Rivers State. Our correspondent Kubi Aboluwade reports. I'll bring you that report in the course of the bulletin. Meanwhile, a few hours after being locked out of the Rivers State House of Assembly complex while attempting to represent the budget, Governor Siminalayi Fubara was received in a grand style in Bori, which is the headquarters of Kana local government area of Rivers State and traditional headquarters of the Ogoni people. At the inauguration of the Bori Zonal Hospital that was constructed by his administration and reconstructed after over 8 years of being abandoned, Governor Fubara did not leave the venue without reflecting on his experience at the State House earlier in the day.
Grand service star of Rivers State.
From the dramatic scenes at the Rivers State House of Assembly, Governor Siminalayi Fubara is given a heroic reception in Bori, the headquarters of Kana local government area and traditional headquarters of the Ogoni people. He's here to commission the remodeled Bori Zonal Hospital, a project that had been abandoned for over 8 years, an occasion that draws guests from far and near.
Your Excellency, this hospital is not just a building, but a symbol of progress, hope, and brighter future that we can now see and experience.
The 105-bed capacity hospital, a secondary healthcare facility, is housed in a 3-story building, which also boasts of staff quarters.
This portrait, which is more than an artwork, sir, this is a testament of the unwavering belief that no matter the challenges, that victory is certain.
Before delivering his speech, Governor Fubara experiences a moment of reflection as an artist presents him with a portrait symbolizing his resilience amid the ongoing political crisis in the state. And mounting the podium, Governor Fubara reiterates that governance is about prioritizing the people's interests above all else.
We are fulfilling an aspect of our agenda, Rivers First, where we promise the Rivers people that healthcare, education, agriculture, protection of life and property of our people will be paramount or take this center stage of our governance.
Speaking to the hospital project, he expresses fulfillment in its completion and his determination to complete all other zonal hospitals.
We believe that it will be proper for this facility to be expanded and everything that is needed in a standard health facility is provided. And I can tell you, to the glory of God, today, those things have
are all in this compound. The commissioner took time to enumerate the expansion level of this facility. Is to show our commitment to our people.
Sugar day your body, sugar, sugar, sugar day your body. The Bori Zonal Hospital, which was remodeled within 9 months, is expected to attract high patient traffic and serve as a referral center for at least 6 out of the 7 local government areas in the Rivers Southeast Senatorial District.
Away from politics in Rivers State, calm may have returned to the Lagos State House of Assembly following the meeting between the members of the House led by the Speaker, Mudashiru Obasa, and President Bola Tinubu at the State House in Abuja. The lawmakers arrived in white buses led by the Deputy Speaker, Mojisola Miranda, while the Speaker, Mudashiru Obasa, arrived some minutes later. After that meeting, lawmakers were seen singing joyfully "On Your Mandate We Shall Stand" and hailing the president as he walked off to his office. According to one of those who attended the meeting, everything has been resolved. We head to the nation's capital now, where there was heavy security presence of officials comprising the Department of State Services, DSS, the police, and the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps. A staff of the People's Democratic Party clashed with thugs and some loyalists of the embattled National Secretary of the party, Mr. Samuel Anyanwu. The scuffle began when some members supporting Mr. Anyanwu came into the premises of the party and tried to lock out some members of the PDP National Working Committee who were resuming for their usual midweek meeting. The development led to the deployment of more security personnel to prevent further breakdown of law and order, paving way for members of the National Working Committee to hold their meeting. Away from politics to security matters now. Members of the People's Democratic Party, the PDP in Edo State, are raising serious concern over what they have described as rising insecurity in the state, and they're now asking the state governor to be alive to his responsibilities as a chief security officer. Speaking at a news conference in Abuja, the convener of the PDP Action Group in Edo State alleges that at least 40 residents of Edo have been killed, with several others missing in the last 3 months alone, forcing the shutdown of many businesses.
This year alone, almost 40 Edo citizens and residents have been killed. Several others have been kidnapped and still haven't been found by their families or the police. Just last week, a young lady by name Uyi Ebohon was kidnapped in her home in Ekpoma, and her whereabouts is still unknown. It is the responsibility of government to protect and secure the people in the state, and that is why we are requesting that the Edo State government, as presently constituted, should rise up to the responsibility to secure Edo people. And we're saying this because in the last administration, Edo was adjudged to be one of the safest states in Nigeria for a reason. Government was committed and dedicated to securing the lives and property of the people by taking decisive actions, where technology was used to monitor the movement of these herders and to reduce criminality by a great percentage. So how is it then that in just 3 months, most of the infrastructure that was used by the previous governments have been destroyed or relegated, and now we're seeing a spike in the killings of Edo people?
In part 2, after the break, President Bola Tinubu advises Governor Siminalayi Fubara of Rivers State to till the path of peace and to conquer. Please join us again. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10, broadcasting live from Channels Television in Lagos. A reminder of our main stories. Intrigues at the Rivers State House of Assembly as Governor Siminalayi Fubara's convoy is denied access into the complex. Governor Fubara reflects on the impasse in the State House of Assembly complex, describes situation as unfortunate, just as FCT minister accuses the governor of playing to the gallery. National Counterterrorism Center announces plans to partner with the British High Commission and the Embassy of the United States of America to strengthen Nigeria's counterterrorism efforts. And Ukraine says that it is ready to accept an immediate 30-day ceasefire with Russia, which was proposed by the U.S. after a day of U.S.-Ukraine talks in Saudi Arabia. The National Counterterrorism Center has announced its preparedness to partner with the British High Commission and the Embassy of the United States of America to strengthen Nigeria's counterterrorism efforts. Speaking in Abuja at the symposium, Encountering Improvised Explosive Devices, the national coordinator of the center, Major General Ademulaka, says the use of IEDs remains a major threat to security agencies involved in the fight against terrorism.
It's a gathering of counterterrorism experts as the National Counterterrorism Center holds a symposium to address the use of improvised explosive devices by terrorists. The national coordinator kickstarts the event as he highlights the dangers of improvised explosive devices.
As we may all be aware, the use of improvised explosive devices remains one of the gravest threats to our security personnel across various theaters of operations. Their impact extends beyond the front lines to civilian populations, critical national infrastructure, such as power transmission lines, and national stability. What makes the improvised explosive devices threat even more concerning is the ease with which they can be fabricated using commercially available materials, making them a persistent and evolving challenge.
The symposium provides a platform for counterterrorism experts to deliberate on innovative strategies to counter the threat.
Threat that has persisted in the northeast, but it is growing and morphing in both scale and complexity in other areas. It impacts soldiers, other agencies, and innocent civilians. We recognize this challenge along with other willing partners such as the United States and Germany.
Brief remarks. I would only like to echo what Brigadier Harper just stated about our continued partnership, working together as diplomatic missions here to support Nigeria's goals. And sir, specifically, I want to thank you for your cooperation and coordination you've had with U.S. Embassy personnel and will continue to have in the future. We're all in this fight together, and we're absolutely here to support you in Nigeria.
The actual threats posed by the use of improvised explosive devices also highlighted.
Today, IED have become a preferred weapon of choice for terrorists, insurgents, bank robberies, and other malicious actors, causing devastating harm to innocent civilians, security personnel, and both government and private critical infrastructures.
The National Counterterrorism Center is hoping that the partnerships will boost the fight against terrorism, especially the use of local materials in manufacturing of improvised explosive devices.
The senior pastor of Trinity House Church, Pastor Itwai Odalo, has asked religious groups to preach the gospel of moral and ethical uprightness for Nigeria to become a better country. Pastor Odalo, who was a special guest at the 14th edition of the Fatima Charity Foundation 2025 Prayer for the Nation, has asked leaders to practice moral decadence in order to secure a good future for the young ones. The president of the Fatima Charity Foundation, Mrs. Bintu Fatima Tinubu, also encouraged people to embrace peace and cultivate a spirit of mutual respect for national growth and development.
Muslim faithful, traditional rulers and some senior officials of the Lagos State government converge on Eco Club Surulere for annual prayers for the nation, organized by the Fatima Charity Foundation.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.
The fasting season is usually set aside for this event, which also supports the less privileged in Lagos State.
Nigeria is a nation where faith plays a vital role in every life. We must ensure that religion is leveraged to promote unity, development, and good governance. It is only through harmony that we can create an environment conducive to national growth and development.
It's an opportunity to task Muslim leaders to help restore moral values in the society.
Community leaders and stakeholders, we must work together to combat social vices, advocate for positive change, and build a society that reflects the best of our religion values.
We should revert back to upholding a family code, a society whereby we'll be free to spread love here and there, according to the teachings of the Holy Prophet.
This forms the crux of discussions which expands into the social implications of moral decadence, a problem the guest speaker, senior pastor of Trinity House Church, Itwai Godalo, believes knows no religion or ethnicity and can only be overcome through a united front.
You have a breakdown in formal education and learning. You have an increase in social inequality. When the society is morally decadent, the poverty rate will increase and it will make society unbearable. Any long-standing prosperous nation has gone through high ethical and moral standards. If a society is going to prosper, the moral standards have to be high.
He also speaks to the issue of corruption, a trait of moral decadence.
There's a wide gap between the rich and the poor because of moral decadence. What are the other effects on the economy? You have increased corruption. Then there's what they call a decline in human capital. What that means is that the capacity and the quantum of people to be able to do well and to be productive is not there.
This is the 14th edition of the Fatima Charity Foundation's Prayers for the Nation, and its goal is to continually support the government through this medium for a better nation.
We have more for you on the news at 10 as we head over to Abuja studios now, where Millicent Walker is standing by. Hello, Millicent. Over to you.
Hi, Anne. Many thanks. We begin with the Federal Capital Territory Minister's media chat, Mr. Nyesom Wike, who believes there is nothing wrong if the state lawmakers decide to remove Governor Siminalayi Fubara over alleged impeachable offences, including withholding the salaries of the lawmakers for months. At a media parley, the former Rivers State governor dismissed concerns that the removal of Governor Fubara may lead to chaos in the state. Mr. Wike went on to underline his commitments to due process and justice, criticizing the governor for working with a small fraction of lawmakers. Our correspondent, Kumbi Aboluwade, has more.
But one of the reasons why we are doing bus terminal.
This is the first media chat the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Mr. Nyesom Wike, will be hosting after the Supreme Court's judgment on the political crisis in Rivers State.
We must tell our people, our youth.
As expected, the fallout from the Apex Court's decision dominates the conversation, especially the latest call for the removal of Governor Siminalayi Fubara.
If you have committed an offense to be killed, what is wrong? Is it a criminal offense? It's provided in the Constitution. If you have committed an infraction of the Constitution and the Assembly deems it fit to say you should be impeached, is it the first person that people have threatened about impeachment? Don't you know what to do? What is all this Huda value that they will impeach? And let me tell you, and I have heard people say, oh, if they impeach him, there will be breakdown of law and order. Rubbish. Hold on, rubbish. Nonsense, which is nonsense. The truth must be told. I have told people, when law speaks, all this Asawana will die. And the law has spoken. And all this, and let me tell you something. And people should have that right. It just does not constitute the majority of the Niger Delta.
The Apex Court had sacked the newly elected local government chairman, and the state government subsequently fixed a new date for a fresh exercise. And the former Rivers State governor made his position clear on the issue.
So when you talk about the local government will not stand the notice there on arrival.
On the development in the nation's capital, the FCT minister accused young people of not aligning with his administration's agenda.
All these theories, empower the youth, empower youth. Nobody has asked, are the youth willing to work? Are the youth willing? It's not about government bringing up policy to help you. When you bought vehicles, have you seen any of those vehicles along the road? They've sold them. And we sit back, we talk about youth. You know, it pains me. You want to maybe be a billionaire overnight. You don't want to work for it.
As the FCT administration tightens its belts in preparation for President Tinubu's second year in office, the minister is hoping that all projects are completed ahead of the scheduled date. Kumbi Aboluade, Channels Television News.
Still ahead on the news at 10, Lagos ranks Africa's second largest city economy after subnational's GDP hit $259 billion, according to state's economic development update for 2025. That's on Business News. To join us again. Watching the news at 10, coming to you live from Abuja studios. Now we switch to some company news. Parthian Capital Limited, the asset management division of the Parthian Group, has unveiled 2 new investment funds aimed at delivering secure and tailored financial solutions for investors, promoting long-term wealth preservation and growth. The newly launched Parthian Money Market Fund and Parthian Dollar Fixed Income Fund were introduced at an event in Lagos, where the company highlighted the vital importance of the capital market and investments in driving Nigeria's economic development.
The atmosphere buzzes with energy as industry players gather for a cocktail reception celebrating the launch of Parthian Capital's latest offering. The event transitions indoors for the introduction of the Parthian Money Market Fund and the Parthian Dollar Fixed Income Fund. The Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Parthian Group provides an overview of the company's innovative products and services, as well as its achievements over the years.
Parthian started as Parthian Partners, a small interdealer brokerage firm, back in 2012. Today, I think there are over 20 interdealer brokers in Nigeria doing what we're doing, or what we started off doing. And I think for us, that's a huge success to be able to open up a sub-industry within an industry in Nigeria.
The CEO's remarks underscores the significance of the new funds, with the chairman of Parthian Partners highlighting the vital role of capital in fostering sustainable economic development.
Many of you will recall that in the early days of this administration, the president did say that he would like the Nigerian economy to be a $1 trillion economy, but we believe it's doable. And basically what we're here to do is our modest contribution to that effort.
Ladies and gentlemen, in a moment filled with anticipation, the audience witnesses the official unveiling, marking a new chapter for Parthian Capital, its partners and clients.
It is a low-risk investment option, so it is quite secure, quite stable, quite safe. Also, Parthian Money Market Fund will offer investors competitive returns that will outperform traditional savings accounts.
These 2 funds being launched today are actually in the process of being listed. So they are part of our ecosystem, and we identify with Parthian and will continue to support them. They continue to deepen the market with innovation, with some of the products and technologies that they use.
When you talk about Parthian Capital...
In another part of the event, the group CEO explains the importance of capital formation in empowering individuals to build wealth.
That helps them invest and save, and societies that save become developed societies and developed economies. And so that's basically how that fits into our overall objective. Now, when you talk about the money market fund or the dollar fund, we're basically looking at safe, secure, and easy to understand and transparent investment for the man on the street.
For Parthian Capital, the introduction of the latest funds highlights its commitment to innovation and excellence in asset management. It also positions the company as a key player in the market.
And that's it from the nation's capital. Anne, it's back to you for the rest of the news at 10.
Thank you, Millicent. And to more company news, all is now set for the third season 3 of the MTN Champs School Athletics Competition. It is to kick off in Edo State beginning from Thursday, March the 13th. Speaking at a press conference in Benin City, the Edo State capital, the organizers, MTN and their partners, making the champions mock, confirmed that over 2,000 participants will be competing in 2 venues. That's the University of Benin and Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium.
Exciting developments are on the horizon as Edo State gears up for the highly anticipated Season 3 opener of the MTN Champs School Athletics Competition. Stakeholders in the 3rd edition of the MTN Champs Athletics Competition are gathered for an interactive session with journalists here in Benin City.
To the champs.
The organizers of the competition say it's all about discovering talents and projecting them to the world.
In all the things that we do, identify the talents within those communities, support them, help to groom them, and then project them to the world, because that way they can fulfill their potential. That is the underlying factor, first of all.
I think that for Season 3, there's a lot of exciting things to look forward to. We have our team MTN at the MOC Athletics Academy, 20 athletes who were discovered in Seasons 1 and 2. They are now back to compete in Season 3. And they've been training, working hard in the academy in Lagos for the last 6, 7, 8 months. We get to see what they've been working on now.
The participants are not the only ones to win prizes during the events. Spectators also stand a chance to win free gifts from MTN.
For people that will be competing, there's something for you. For people that will be coming there also for the spectators, there's something for you. And of course, if you also want to participate in some of the games and some of the free items that will be available tomorrow, I want to implore you, between now and that tomorrow, please get yourself an MTN SIM.
The MTN Champs is returning to Edo State for the 2nd time. The state government maintains that the program is in line with its grassroots sports development.
So we want to appreciate MTN, who are the sponsors for a wonderful program like this. And I want you to know, which you made mention already, His Excellency has already approved the accommodation, logistics.
In this year's edition, MTN will be fielding its own team made up of winners from the previous editions.
The journey has been very, very amazing. Being trained by Coach Teji and my amazing teammates. I'm back here to make a difference.
Since 2023, the MTN Champs Athletics Competition has featured over 20,000 students from 900 secondary schools across the country. This year alone, the projection is about 7,000 participants from the 3 host states of Edo, Lagos, and Akwa Ibom.
Well, definitely we have more stories from the world of business. Dominic Iwiwu is standing by to take us through those stories.
Thank you and welcome to Business News. Nigeria's commercial capital, Lagos State, has been ranked as Africa's 2nd largest city in economy after Egypt's commercial capital, Cairo. This was made known during the official launch of the Lagos Economic Development Update, LEDU 2025 today. According to the report, the subnational ranks as the continent's 2nd largest city economy in purchasing power parity with gross domestic product GDP of $259.75 billion as at 2023. Meanwhile, the Lagos State government has set ambitious projections for the 2025 fiscal year, which is hinged on a higher GDP forecast, strong sectorial growth, increased revenue targets, and lower inflation outlook. And back home, the domestic stock market continued its downward trend as sell pressures on 31 equities drove the all-share index deeper into the negative territory. Ini John Mekwa has details of today's activities on the Nigerian exchange.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Stock Market Report. Well, gaining over 250 billion in one day and then losing 48 billion. So I guess we are still in the profit zone at the NGX. Today, the market lost 48 billion. That was shaved off the market cap, still retaining the 66 trillion naira level, and the all share is still around 106,000. Even though we see that we're slipping out of that right there, less than 100 is what we have there. So the market is down 0.07%. Now, the losers that have led is mostly corn oil. Corn oil today shed 10% from its share price to close at 331 naira 20 kobo. Berger also down almost 10%, 9.81, and then Inten Insurance also. This has been either top gainers or top losers since last week, but there's a bit of good news. At least we have the greens. So for the gainers, we have Carverton, NSL Tech, and Tantalizer, but they were not strong enough today at the close of trade to bring back the bull. So we have the bear at the NGX.
Despite the escalation of tariff retaliation between the U.S. and other major economies, European markets closed higher today on hopes of an immediate 30-day ceasefire negotiation between Ukraine and Russia. But let's find out how other major markets ended midweek trading session. And that's it on business news. Back to Anne for the rest of the news at 10.
Thank you, Dominic. And still to come on the news at 10, Ukraine says it is ready to accept an immediate 30-day ceasefire with Russia proposed by the United States. And that's after a day of U.S.-Ukraine talks in Saudi Arabia. That's in the foreign scene. Please stay with us. Welcome back. The president of the Inter-Parliamentary Union, Tulia Axin, has assured embattled Kogi Central lawmaker, Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, that due process will be followed in addressing the concerns surrounding her suspension from the Senate. The assurance is coming in response to Mrs. Akpoti-Uduaghan's appeal for intervention by the IPU and the United Nations over what she termed as unjust suspension from the Nigerian Senate. Meanwhile, reactions are trailing the statements made by Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan at that conference. And then this time, the chairperson of the House of Reps Committee on Women Affairs, Honorable Kafilat Ogbara, has been giving an official reaction on the statement.
It is equally important to acknowledge that the Senate President, in his official capacity, has strongly denied these allegations. In the spirit of transparency and fairness, I now wish to read this letter from the Senate in its entirety. And it is crucial that all perspectives are heard and that all aspects of the situation are duly considered. After the presentation of the position paper of the Nigerian Senate, it is important to recognize that both the allegations made and the responses provided are serious matters that require careful and unbiased scrutiny. This issue, which remains sub judice, involves multiple elements, including allegations of sexual harassment and potential violations of Senate rules. While it is necessary to engage in introspection and understand any potential connections, these matters must also be considered separately. It is imperative that we uphold the principles of fairness and ensure that no individual is prematurely judged without a transparent and impartial process.
Outside our shores now, let's join Simon Pieze with more international news and around the world in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Ukraine has said it is ready to accept an immediate 30-day ceasefire with Russia proposed by the US after a day of US-Ukraine talks in Saudi Arabia. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio said he would present the offer to Russia and that the ball is in their court. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky said it was now up to the US to convince Russia to agree to the positive proposal. In a joint statement, the US also said it would immediately restart intelligence sharing and security assistance to Ukraine, which Washington had suspended after the unprecedented public row at the White House.
We're going to bring it to them directly. We're going to say that Ukraine is prepared to stop all battlefield activity and begin the immediate process of negotiating an enduring end to the war. And we'll see what their response is. If their response is yes, then we know we've made real progress and there's a real chance of peace. If their response is no, it would be highly unfortunate and it would make their intentions clear. Now we all eagerly await the Russian response and urge them strongly to consider ending all hostilities.
Pakistan's army says it has freed more than 300 hostages from a passenger train seized by militants in Balochistan province on Tuesday. The military spokesperson said 33 militants were killed during the operation. 21 civilian hostages and 4 military personnel were killed by the Baloch Liberation Army before the operation began, the military spokesperson said. The military continues its search operation in the area to rule out any remaining threats. The Pakistani authorities, as well as several Western countries, including the UK and the US, have designated the BLA as a terrorist organization. Greenland's centre-right opposition has won a surprise general election victory in a vote dominated by independents and the US President Donald Trump's pledge to take over the semi-autonomous territory. The centre-right Democratic Party, which favours a gradual approach to independence from Denmark, achieved around 30% of the vote. His party will now have to negotiate with other parties in order to form a coalition. Greenland, the world's biggest island between the Arctic and Atlantic Oceans, has been controlled by Denmark nearly 3,000 kilometres away for around 300 years. Somali security forces have ended a deadly 24-hour siege by Islamist fighters who stormed a popular hotel in the central city of Beledweyne. The attack by al-Shabaab gunmen began when a car bomb exploded following gunmen entering the hotel, leading to intense clashes with security forces. The mayor said 7 people had been killed in the attack, but witnesses said the death toll could be higher. The raid at the Kahira Hotel took place as politicians, security officials, and traditional elders were meeting to discuss plans for an offensive against al-Shabaab in central Somalia.
Do you and your tariff policies right now bear any responsibility for the turmoil we're seeing this week?
Biden gave us a horrible economy.
The UK is pushing for a trade deal with the US as tariffs imposed by US President Donald Trump on imports of steel and aluminium take effect. The import tax introduction sparked an immediate response from the European Union on Wednesday, which said it will impose counter tariffs on billions of euros of US goods. The UK did not announce any tariffs in response as it works towards a wider economic agreement, but the Conservatives said Labour had no plan. Mr. Trump hopes the tariffs will boost US steel and aluminium production, but critics say it will raise prices for US consumers and dent economic growth. The government of Portuguese Prime Minister Luís Montenegro has lost a vote of confidence, almost certainly pitching the country into its 3rd general election in barely 3 years. MPs voted against him by 142 to 88 with no abstentions, toppling his right-of-centre minority government. The confidence motion was tabled by the government itself after the opposition socialists announced plans for a parliamentary inquiry into Montenegro's business dealings. And Spotify paid the music industry $10 billion in 2024, which the streaming service says was the highest annual payment from any in history. But the figures come as a heated debate continues about how much money artists and songwriters receive in royalties. Earlier this year, several Grammy-nominated songwriters boycotted an awards event hosted by Spotify in a row about their streaming earnings. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.
Thanks, Simon. In the world of sports, the ladies' golf Ikoyi Club 1938 hosted her inaugural Lady Captain Kitty in Lagos with 65 ladies and guests in action. The aim is to launch the theme for the year 2025-2026 with the focus on the environment, promoting biodiversity and creating a mindset of positivity.
It's 8 a.m. and these golfers are eager to grace the golf course for the inaugural Lady Captain Kitty. This inaugural edition goes beyond golfing. It's about protecting the environment and keeping the golf course lush all year round. With 160 golfers and caddies playing on the course daily, while consuming water in plastic bottles, it's imperative to see how the waste can be put to use to protect the environment, which informs this year's theme centered on promoting biodiversity.
We care about our ecosystem in which we thrive, where we impact society through the kind of things we're doing, recycling, nesting, cleaning the natural lakes, cleaning the artificial lakes and all the garden litter, ensuring that we impact all those around us, seeing how we can create sustainability.
With golf over, it's time for the prize-giving reception. Some of the winners of various categories include Temitope Akinola, Men Net Champion Modupe Adelaja, Ladies Veteran Net Champion and Ladies Gross Champion Pat Ozoemene.
85 gross.
For the Ladies Net winners.
She's trying to encourage ladies to go beyond, do greater things, because we are meant for greatness.
We'll reach it, we'll play it, and live it. Golf is life.
The Lady Captain Peggy Onwu has a message for the winners.
Goodie for all the winners. The sponsors for this year are reaching out because they are positive sponsors who think a lot about sustainability, and they would do anything for people who are championing the cause.
There's no better way to begin the year for these golfers than having fun, maintaining a healthy lifestyle while communicating the reach and impacts of golf beyond the fairways on the course and into the fairways of life-preserving discipline.
Away from golf, former president of the Nigeria Football Federation, Amaju Pinnick, has lost his bid to return to the FIFA Council at the elections into the World Football governing body held in Cairo earlier today. Pinnick polled to 28 votes, but fell short. That's Sports News Tonight. I'm Kelly Egiga. It's back to Anne.
Thank you, Kelly. And the main news again. Some drama played out today at the River State House of Assembly as Governor Siminalayi Fubara's convoy was denied access into the complex. That's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Anne Nwawade. Good night and stay safe.